So what drama we've seen in Dubai, and it's sure to continue now as we look towards this third, fourth place playoff. Canada and France stepping out in front of this great sporting theatre that we see in this wonderful stadium in Dubai. Alongside me, Mel Robinson. Well, follow that. I've got a feeling we may well do, because the way that Canada and France have gone through this weekend, they've had highs and lows, but the highs have been exceptional.
This promises plenty, no doubt about it. Canada, they were third on the World Series last year. They are a very good team. France, they are the surprise team this competition. They have done a lot of work on their sevens play, and they've been putting some exceptional rugby out there.
So our referee, James Mbolayembo, keeping the Fijian link, I suppose, off the back of that last game. And now Canada looking to get this game underway. It's a contest that they've got good history in, 1-2 of the previous three. They, indeed, last year they played each other in the same pool, and Canada won that 126-0. Such an inspirational leader, offers such a variety of threat, both in the tight and the loose, but on that occasion, penalised. Grassanol setting up position for Jennifer Trancey to try and release that back line. It's been a back line that has functioned beautifully at times, so smooth in that effect. It's just a matter of making sure they get themselves into the right sort of areas to play the game they want to play. Nina Guerin getting the start ahead of Caroline Ladanius for this game, as David Courtet mixes and matches his squad a little bit more.
Well, the style France are showing already, it's a little bit of their offload game. They're wanting to speed it up. They're attacking into contact, and they're moving it out wide. Canadian defence, so very good at that point. They had not much room to move. They've made it up to the halfway line, though.
The French advance in this tournament, Mal, is, I suppose, exemplified in that semi-final when, for a while, they had the lead over the champions. But how important would it be to finish third in the first tournament of a new season?
Incredibly important. I mean, they're going for Olympic qualification too. Remember, the top 4 teams at the end of these 6 series make it through to the Olympics.
And of course, Canada used to being in the top 4. The last 7 tournaments on the trot, they've been in that position at some point or another. Now, of course, a full-time squad. They're working very hard. They've had camps in Australia, played in the Gold Coast Sevens, won the Central Coast Sevens ahead of this tournament, so have come into the first leg of this season's Women's Sevens World Series in good fettle.
Set.
It's a helter-skelter scare and scrum that cannot deliver the ball. So it's going to be another put-in, I think.
Well, David Courtet has mixed up his starting lineup for the French team for this game, which is interesting because they are playing off the 3rd and 4th. So they might take a little bit of time to get their combinations out there.
Yeah, points may not mean prizes in this particular contest, but points at the end of this season could well deliver something very, very special. As Kelly Russell, captain, of course, at the 15 side, gets Canada going in this sevens format. Bianca Farrell having the ball pickpocketed by Fanny Horter.
Look, Canada really wanted to move it wide there, but they're not going wide enough. You've got to play it to that 5 metre to really stretch the defence. They didn't do that. They were a bit lucky because the French ended up knocking it on.
Just a little bit of early sparring going on through the course of these opening minutes. Both teams yet to really make any line breaks and make any serious headway into opposition territory. to Ghislaine Landry. 6 tries already in the weekend. She really has been an arch try poacher, but on that occasion, just unable to get the ball clear and has to concede possession.
Well, she's never going to get around the defensive player, so she needed to pull up and wait for her support play to get there. In the end, she was isolated. And that's how the French were able to put pressure on that breakdown and get the ball.
Do it again. Push first. Actions this way.
Let's go.
Canada third last season in the standings once again. And that consistency, that continuity, putting them in strong position going into the beginning of this season. And they've been disappointed with the performance against Australia in the semi-final, but if they can build now and take a third place away, they will know that they've got their season off to a good start. Varela slaloming away through French defenders. But again, the breakdown not to the referee's satisfaction, and again possession is conceded and allows France to try and work their own way up with Marjorie Meal, one of the most impressive forwards through the course of this weekend. Meal, normally a centre in the 15s game, but has absolutely worked her socks off through the course of these 6 games. Ball turned over. That's Mandy Marchak just waiting before she comes in to the contact area, and the choke tackle, I think, has just been effected long enough to allow John Tate's side to take possession.
Well, the French are unable to get their attack any go forward or any fluidity because this Canadian defence, it's pressing up hard. They're not giving them any space whatsoever.
Well, into the final minute of the first half, and barren of points so far. I can't remember many games this weekend that have been in that situation come the half-time whistle, and this one's not going to deliver that either, because there is the first try, as if on cue. Kayla Molesky with her 3rd of the weekend, her 18th of this World Series career, such as it is at the moment, and a critical score at a critical time for the Canadians.
Well, that blindside corridor next to a scrum, it's a perfect place to attack, especially if you've got a little halfback with plenty of pace. Went to the right-hand side, had another player in support, and Molesky ended up over. Very good try.
Ghislaine Landry with the conversion as the half-time hooter goes. Everybody looking to the official to see whether we're going to play on, and the whistle confirms that that's enough for the first half as they head into the half-time huddles. It is the Canadians with the slenderest of leads, that one score, giving them a 5-0 half-time advantage.
Okay, catch your breath. 1, 2, 3. Okay. They're anticipating us going wide to that 15, so they're really getting tight and chasing across. So we can go to the 15. We just got to hold the depth, whoever's on the end, whether it's you or you, and look for the reverse, which means on the backside we got to connect. Stick with your rolls to keep dragging that 5, right? Get in, hold them in. Let's look for the reverse. So set up. Okay.
Well, both coaches trying to imbue their team with a sense of confidence. What was the message from John Tate for the Canadians, Mel?
Yeah, very interesting, because he actually talked about attacking around the 15. Now, what that means is it's 15 metres away from the sideline. That's interesting because teams like New Zealand and Fiji that we saw before prefer to attack at the 5 metre because it stretches the defence more. So we're going to expect them to go to that area of the game and stick to that pattern in the second half.
France, who began their campaign with a 31-0 thrashing of Spain, lost a tight one against Australia to follow that 24-10, and then beat South Africa to end day one. And then had perhaps one of the surprise wins of the weekend in many ways to knock England out in the quarterfinals, just 7-5, but a well-deserved win it was earlier on this morning. And then losing to the defending champions 31-10. But as I mentioned, have shown great flashes of inspiration. Well, here's some Canadian inspiration coming through from Ashley Stacey. One of the top tacklers yesterday, but showing her attacking instinct there. Landry and Kish trying to get width on the ball. Russell throwing it back to that narrow side, and that's what John Tate asked his team to do. Stacey goes in to the contact area, just short of the 22.
To see the panic, maybe fatigue is setting in at this point too. It's been a very hot tournament, very difficult conditions to play in.
Yeah, much as we're playing under floodlights now, the heat of the day has been extreme, believe me, and not that any of the spectators here, nor indeed the commentators, will be complaining about that. For the players, it is a real test of endurance, and when you get to game number 6 of this weekend, your fuel tanks are not full, that's for sure. The French line out working well with Elodie Guiglion. Missed that quarter-final match with England. One-match suspension for play yesterday. Adrien Meillon again, the catalyst for so much of the French attacking moves. This time tries to release Jennifer Troncy down that right channel. Canada having their discipline tested with these succession of French moves, phase play moves they may be, but they're making some headway.
Yeah, but there was space on the open side, close sideline to us, because Canada at the moment doing an umbrella type defence, shut down from the outside, and they're leaving the wing free on the open side of the field. France have to identify that and perhaps change what they're doing.
David Courtet making changes from the bench now in his 4th year in the role of head coach for this French women's 7 side, and really beginning to make changes in the style that they're playing. They've been in camp in Marcoussis since September, and having qualified as a core team out in the Hong Kong qualifier in the same month, really beginning to build on the way they're playing, able to build from that phase, just unable to keep the ball in hand. But it is a noticeable shift in the style of France, Mel, that you're seeing, isn't it?
Well, this game's probably not the best example of it, because we have seen them move the ball beautifully. Plenty of fluidity in what they've been doing. They've been shifting it wider than they have in this game. But one thing I like about them is that they really do attack the game line, so they do really get up flat. Someone tries to take the defence on, and there's always a support player there, and that's where they've been getting their breaks.
2 important changes from John Tate, with Karen Paquin and Lisa Allery coming on. Paquin acting as one of the props there, and Allery as the scrum half, both of them in that Canadian 15 that played against England in the World Cup final back in August. It's Allery who reacts quickest, but is penalised for a feed. Slightly late call from the officials, but France won't mind, because they have got great attacking opportunity now. Right in front of the post, options right and left, and Canadian defence going to be tested to the full, you suspect. Biscarat ignites the fire, and suddenly it's moved out. Great pull in from Camille Grassano. She's another one who's had a very impressive tournament. Biscarat winds back to the near side, and in the end the door opens for Elodie Guiglion. Well, it works for France. You could see what they were trying to do down that left flank. They showed patience, they showed perseverance, and it pays off with the try.
Well, they nearly made a meal of this, but in the end, they ended up with one extra player just on the touchline there. Guiglion. Before that, you know, when they draw and pass, they're not taking the ball up to the line in that situation. But hey, they've got 5 points. They're still in this game. It is very competitive indeed.
There's the conversion, which doesn't find its target this time from Christelle Leduff. Of course, it was her conversion against England that made all the difference and allowed France to move on from the quarter-finals. And now Leduff off the bench, I think to replace Guiglion, funnily enough. Her last act of the match, try scoring, and it's Leduff, the experienced campaigner, who comes on to try and guide this French team into the right sort of areas. Busquets, such a busy little half-back. Well, Canada really have been watching France come at them for most of this second half.
They have indeed, but at least they're cutting down their options by moving up fast. It is 5-all, you do need the ball to win, but limiting the French options.
Valerie comes round the corner. She's got plenty of pace. She's played plenty of times at fullback for the 15 side as well. And Mandy Marchak unable to get the ball from under her feet.
Well done, France, in that situation. It was the experienced player Leduff. She really had good body position, both her and Emile. They went in there, they counter-rucked and drove through. That meant that the ball popped out on their side and the French team won it.
So, scrum put in, France ball. The score now could be terminal for the opposition. Perhaps into the last play of this game. Amazing running from Caroline Ladagnus. But again, unable to exploit the position. Now, Canada looking to go as the full-time hooter goes. And the choke tackle stops anything happening until suddenly it's Landry bursting through from the back of that maul. Another penalty. Canada now in French territory. What can they work from here? Oh, Mandy Marchak spinning out of the tackle. The leg drive takes her up to the 22. Numbers out to the left if they can move it there. Landry picks it in. She's got support arriving, but it's slow, and France have got that one. There's a turnover ball there for the French, and great defensive resolve being shown. Now, who's got the legs to actually take them all of 80 metres to success and glory? Oh, some tired legs there. Oxygen deprivation kicking into the lungs. The lactose building up in the legs. The final play continues. The clock is on 0. Glory awaits somebody as Lenny Courson tries to release her backs. Desperate tackling coming in from the Canadians. Composure under stress for the French. They spin it out again. Well, just biding their time to clear their heads. Now they select gear, and now they move. Christelle Leduff waiting for the support. It came in the end from Caroline Ladagnus. It's there again for Leduff. She opens the door on the left. It's Fanny Horta. who is told to sit back down in no uncertain terms by Magali Harvey, and Harvey's tackle gets the penalty, and this game continues to roll towards its end. 5 points apiece, neither side able to execute the final cut.
This is crazy stuff, isn't it? Just goes to show you how the gap between these top teams is so small now, with all the work that they've done in the off-season. Crazy stuff.
Well, there's extra time beckoning if neither side can do anything. Again, another penalty, and of course the game cannot end on a penalty. Farella feeds Harvey. Harvey, would you believe, in all the matches has not scored a try this weekend. What a good time it would be to change that, but she's been penalised for holding on. Opportunity knocks, but who is going to walk through the door? Oh, they're going this time with Shannon Izar. Well, this Women's 7 series providing some fantastic sporting drama to finish things off. We had England just managing to win the plate in extra time. Who is going to take this 3rd, 4th match with the valuable points that, of course, go towards those final seedings at the end of the season? Still it goes on. Well, that could be it, I think, Mel. I think we're heading for extra time. Everybody's looking towards the official. And James Mboliambio says, well, you're going to have a breather, and then we're going to go again.
And they're going, no, please.
I don't think there's enough oxygen in this stadium now for those players out on that pitch.
I think the French team, when they started this game, looked a little flat compared to what they have been. They were fatigued already. You can see that in some of their decision-making, perhaps. Canada been in a full-time program now for a few seasons. They are very conditioned athletes. Have been playing the game of sevens for a good number of years now. Got so much experience. Leduc, you can see there talking to her team. She's the one that made the kick at the last moment of the match that probably wasn't the right option. They need people to make the right decisions.
So you've got to choose end. You want to choose end?
Yeah, sure.
Which way? This side. So kick off that way.
Yeah, it's going to be the French to kick off. Canadians winning the toss, and like England before them, saying we will receive. And John Tate standing head and shoulders above his charges right now, but having to settle them down, focus their minds, give them the belief and the confidence that they can provide the final thrust in this game, which would give them the 3rd place.
Well, this time the message from John Tate wasn't so calm as it was at half-time. He's got a bit of wildness in his eyes. He talked about the ruck and taking care of the ruck, both on their own ball and defensively. They do get an opportunity with the ball first up, though, and that could be key.
Well, John Tate, a man mountain as a player, a gentle giant as a manager, but there's only one thing worse than playing into an extra time scenario, and that's being the manager watching your team playing into the extra time scenario. Who has got the nerve? Who is going to find that final break that's going to allow them to score the winning try? Golden point we're on. It's the 3rd, 4th place playoff. First score takes the 3rd place. Leduc sends her team up into opposition territory. Clever kick from the experienced French international Magali Harvey. Well, she scored that try in the World Cup against France, that rated in the top 5 tries of the whole season. Can she do it in the shortened format of the game? What a story that would be. Jen Kish trying to hurdle her way through French tackles. Good pick up from Farella. Landry's through! As Ghislaine Landry puts her foot to the floor and sprints Canada to the 3rd place title. Well, we didn't have to wait too long in the end. Ghislaine Landry with her 7th try of this weekend, and none of them have been more important than that.
She did what every good winger should do, and that is finish it off. It was all very simple in the end. They moved it to that 15 line into a little bit of space. She still had the legs, and she went for it.
So plenty of credit to Canada, plenty of credit to France as well, as they finish with the conversion. It's unnecessary to support the title, but Canada take 3rd, France 4th in the Dubai Women's Sevens World Series 2014.